Hello everybody. So today I'm gonna read another story of the Bible, and the title of this story is the story of Moses. Let's begin. A long time ago in Egypt, a princess found an Israelite baby floating in a basket beside the riverbank near her palace. His mother had hidden him away because the pharaoh wanted all Israelite baby boys to be killed. The pharaoh's kindly daughter adopted the baby and called him Moses. And so an Israelite baby grew up as a member of the Egyptian royal family. But one day Moses learned who he really was and became angry about how his people were treated. Moses fled from the wicked Pharaoh. He wandered alone in the desert for many years, married a woman, and had a child. One day he saw the strangest sight. A bush was on fire, and a voice from within the flames was saying, "Moses, you must free the Israelites." "Who should I say sent me?" gasped Moses in disbelief. "I am who I am," boomed the voice of God, "and with my help, you will lead the Pharaoh's slaves out of Egypt to a land where they can live in freedom. Ask the Pharaoh to release his slaves. He will not listen, but you should drop your staff to the floor. It will turn into a snake, and then he may believe that I have sent you," said God. As God had predicted, the Pharaoh refused to listen to Moses. He wasn't even persuaded by the staff turning into a snake. So God sent another message. As the Egyptian people fished and bathed in the river Nile, it began to change color. Within moments, God had turned all of the water in Egypt into blood. There was no clean water to wash in or to drink, but worse was soon to come. For every day that the Pharaoh refused to free the Israelites, God sent a terrible plague into Egypt. Frogs rained down, mosquitoes bit everyone, and flies made all the Egyptians itch. Their cattle died, boils made their skin sore, and hailstones heavy enough to shatter trees fell from the skies. By now every Egyptian wanted the Pharaoh to set his slaves free, but the Pharaoh refused. So God sent a cloud of locusts. He plunged the land into darkness, and then he sent the worst plague of all. Every firstborn Egyptian child died, including the Pharaoh's own son. At last the Pharaohs gave in. Moses could lead the Israelites in God's promised land. They were free at last. God sent a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night to guide Moses and his people through the desert. But as they reached the edge of the Red Sea, the Israelites looked around in fear. Every soldier in the Egyptian army was racing across the desert to capture them. The Pharaoh had changed his mind. Who would build and clean his palaces? He needed those slaves back. Moses' people were in despair, and some even thought they should go back to the Pharaoh. They were trapped with the Red Sea before them and 600 chariots behind them. But God had told Moses what to do. "Have no fear," said Moses as he lifted his rod and stretched his hand out over the sea. To everyone's astonishment, the waves drew back to make two walls of water. Before them was a dry path that would lead the Israelites to freedom at last. Quickly, the Israelites fled through the tunnel of water. The Egyptian army tried to follow them, but God's pillar of cloud swirled around the soldiers, confusing them. Once Moses' people had safely crossed the Red Sea, God lifted the cloud and the army charged after them. As soon as every chariot was on the path, Moses raised his hand again. The two huge walls of water tumbled back together, and within moments, the entire army was washed away. How the Israelites cheered! Together, they joined Moses in prayer and thanked God for their freedom. Moses led the Israelites through the wilderness for 3 long months. At last, God sent for Moses to come to the top of a mountain so he could speak with him. While a fire burned brightly at the top of a Mount Sinai, Moses' people waited for their leader to return to them. Moses was up on the mountain for 40 days and 40 nights. When he returned, he brought a gift from God. Written on 2 stone tablets by the Lord himself were 10 special laws that God wanted his people to live by. And carrying these commandments with them, the people who once were slaves set off to live in freedom, just as God himself had promised. So this is a story of freedom for them. I enjoyed reading it. I hope you enjoy listening to the story. Bye bye for now.